Hello everyone, the passionate Piscator here in Bradford on Avon, by the beautiful bridge that goes across. Bradford on Avon, of course, the home of the gudgeon. But I'm not after gudgeon today, I'm after a chub and perhaps a barbel. If I get a gudgeon, I'll be very happy. The river's looking good. We've seen a few big chub already, right out in the river over there, where you can't catch them. But there's every chance they'll move up for some bait. We're going to head a bit further upstream and see if we can pull them in from there with a bit of bread, a bit of lunch and meat, and see what's going on. I say I'm with my friend Glen today. I've got a bit of company, which is nice. He'll catch all the bigger fish, so that's why he's here. And I can claim them for myself. Yeah, so we're going to have a bit of a feed of the chub here, see if we can see some of these lovely beauties, and then we're going to head on up and see what we can catch further up the river. But it's a bit rainy today. It's meant to go off a bit later on. So yeah, let's get going. Right, it's the first swim of the day, underneath the railway bridge. We've chosen here mostly because all the other swims are taken that we want to use. It's a Saturday, so it's pretty busy. A few of the people have taken the prime swims. Lucky enough to live in Bradford on Avon, I expect they are. They've got down here really early. It's just starting to rain a little bit now, but that won't dampen our spirits any. I've set up my rod on the kingfisher perch just down there. It's just literally a feeder stick top thing with a couple of cable ties wrapped around the top of it. The ground here is pretty gravelly, so it's pretty handy to have that actually. Biggest mistake I've made today already. Got my quiver tip rod with me, gone to put it together, and it's the wrong tip for the for the quiver tip, which is just typical. I think it's a spinning tip which I've got on there, which I've brought with me at least. So that's no good at all. But what I've done is I've luckily managed to bring my float rod with me, and I've just set my float rod up as a quiver tip. I do have my Tipex with me, so I can always Tipex the tip of the rod there if need be. But I think with a little bit of sheen on the water, if I can just put the tip just over that, I better see it curling around. However, it's a very light float rod, so if I do get anything decent, it's going to be a real tussle. But I have a feeling that along this stretch here, maybe under the bridge there or across that bank, there'll be a few chub, maybe a few dace, and see if I can get a few of them. If I catch a barbel on there, if there is any, it's going to be hook and hold. I might have to be going into the water, but it'll all be worth it, I'm sure. But the good thing about having the bridge is when it does start raining, a nice bit of cover for us, so that's great. Glen's just over there setting up. Actually, he's got a bin bag with him. I think he's about to chuck some stuff away. No, he's setting up. He's brought his quiver tip rod with him, like a sensible person, and he's just setting that up and getting a net ready. One of those endless questions of angling. When your rod tip jingles and you leave it, because it's not really a bite, do you reel in case your bait's come off, or do you leave it there in case the bait's there and the fish was just playing around with it? That's what this morning's been all about. A few times I've left it and I've managed to hook into a little chub, probably. It didn't come in, he got caught in the reeds, and a little bream. And then a few times I've left it and it's reeled in and there's nothing on there. I guess the real answer is to just cast out every 15 minutes regardless, which is what I'm going to do. The middle of the day bells are chiming on the clock tower, and we had a few fish out of this swim. Not many. It's been very, very busy. There's been a lot of paddleboarding, that's a new thing, paddleboarding going on in the river around us, and a load of kayaks and canoes and all sorts. It's been so busy. I think that's driven the fish off a little bit, and also the trains going overhead, but I think the fish must be used to the trains. It is a Saturday, so it is quite busy here on the river. Ideally, you'd want to come during the middle of the week when it's a bit quieter, I think. But we're going to move along now to find some new swims. Hopefully, with a few fish in, and see if we can head above the bridge. There's a couple of swims up there that look really nice. This is a free stretch of the river, so we've got the whole place. We can sit wherever we like, but there aren't very many spots you can actually get and put a bait. And actually, that side of the bridge, that way, where that lovely bridge is down there, isn't free either. But we've got all these lovely bits here, and it's a lovely place to sit. So yes, we're going to move along and see what spots we can find. So, moving into the new area, what we seem to be catching and getting caught up in are these, well, swan mussels, I think. They could be duck mussels, they are quite small, but I'd like to say this is a swan mussel. They keep clamping up over our line and cutting us off, which is a bit annoying, but I'm sure we'll get round it somehow. Popping back. Lovely. Not a monster chub, but he's a chub nonetheless. It's the species we're after. And here we are, took a rather hefty chunk of luncheon meat. He's got the line tangled around him, bless him. Oh, he's still lively. There we are, lovely orange fins. Big old mouth to eat that big chunk of luncheon meat with. He's got a bit of a ulcer on his lip there. Absolutely beautiful fish. Stunning. Right, I suppose we'd best pop him back, catch another one. Yeah, just popped on a bit of bread. And we've got a lovely roach. Luncheon meat was doing okay, but I think there's a lot of fish moving out there, and as I've been feeding a little bit of bread, they've been coming into a bit of bread. Lovely fish. Love a good river roach. It's a Bradford on Avon classic right there. What a lovely fish. Off that roach, look, on my thumb, there's a little louse, little fish louse. They crawl across the surface of the roach, or any fish really, and feed on the mucus and slime on the outside of them. Oh, there we are. Gross looking little things really, but they're all part of the ecosystem. Even if they are little parasites. Oh, I've lost him again. There we are. Funny little fellas, aren't they? Oh. There we are. Lovely chub. A little bit battered and wear-worn. He's been in a few battles, this one. But loving the bread. Maybe I should have been using bread all day long rather than the luncheon meat. But yeah, what a lovely fish. You can see why people love the chub. I know this is only sort of a smaller one, but what a lovely, lovely fish. Beautiful golden eyes. Big old mouth. And fantastic sort of silvery golden scales. It's those lovely peach orange fins. Look at the tail. Gorgeous. Well, we've had a few chub, a bream, almost an eel, a roach, but Bradford on Avon, of course, is famed for its gudgeon. The reason for that, I think, is that on the Bradford on Avon bridge, there's a little sort of stone building attached to it, and that used to be a chapel when it was first built. And then it changed into like a cell. We had two little cells in it to keep troublemakers in. And on top of that little building, there's a weather vane with a golden fish on. Now, to me, it looks like a perch or a ruff, but that is the Bradford gudgeon. So it's got to be famed for its gudgeon. The local brewery, the Kettlesmith Brewery, makes an ale, or I think it's an ale, called the Golden Gudgeon, and I believe the local paper is called the Gudgeon as well. But we haven't caught any gudgeon today. We have been after the chub, and I think a lot of the visitors to Bradford on Avon certainly notice the chub, especially if you go across the bridge, which goes over the river here. If you take a peer over the edge, you will see plenty of chub milling around in the water below. Big beasts, but they're clever old things, and they stay out of the way of anglers like myself and Glen today. Just by staying right in the centre, away from all the edges, right in amongst the weed. There's no chance of getting them. But they are big beasts. I'd love to get one. I think the only chance you'd have is getting a pair of waders and having a little wander out and sneaking up on them, I think. But we're pretty happy with the fish we've caught today. We're coming up towards the end of the session now, and hoping for those one last fish with that one last cast before we have to get our train back to our respective homes. But it is certainly very nice out, despite the drum and bass going on in the background from someone's house party they're having. It's been quite pleasant. It's a little bit less peaceful up this top end of the river compared to the bottom. But the kingfishers don't seem to mind. They've been up and down all day long, carting back little minnows in their mouths. Yeah, it's just been genuinely very nice, very peaceful. But plenty of wildlife, which I love to watch, as you well know. Anyway, I've got a bit of bread which I've cast perfectly underneath a chestnut tree opposite me. So perfectly that it's probably in all of the snags which are underneath there. But I've just left it. I haven't moved it, even though I know it's probably in the snags, because you never know, that chub or a big bream or something might come along and just eat it up and be on my line. There we go, the change to the bread seems to have worked wonders. A bit slightly bigger, lovely. Chub, look at that. Bring him a bit closer for you. Lovely fish. Under here, look, it's got some really nice orange colourings, which is a bit unusual. Not quite sure what causes that, but how about that? A lovely, lovely slice of bread. Excellent. Beautiful fish. Right, that's us for the day on the River Avon in the lovely Bradford on Avon. Free stretch. Our little summer chub fishing session is over and we caught some chub, which is nice. That was the intended target. On the old luncheon meat and bread. Not so much on the pellets and not so much on the worms. I'll remember that for next time. But yeah, really nice day. We got out of that rain luckily enough and the sun's shining away on us now. But the train is calling, it's time to go home. Absolutely knackered. Yeah, it's been a lovely day. Anyway, thanks for joining me and Glen here on the River Avon, and hopefully I'll pop back very soon and catch a few more of those lovely chub and maybe have a go for some barbel. Or, if I don't get to come here before then, I've heard the roach fishing here is very, very good. So I will be coming down for some lovely, lovely roach. Anyway, thank you, like and subscribe, and I will see you another time. Bye!